Welcome to Aqua Talks, where marketing meets bold, game-changing ideas. Join your hosts, Larry Aldrich and Mady Dudley, as they explore the art and science of cutting through the noise, capturing attention, and fostering meaningful connections with your audience. Whether you're a destination marketer, government contractor, or simply passionate about the transformative power of marketing, Aqua Talks offers engaging discussions, fresh insights, and actionable strategies designed to inspire and inform.
Hi, welcome back to Aqua Talks. My name is Mady, and this is a podcast for marketers, whether you're just getting started out or you are a pro within the marketing industry. We are a Brensis Technology LLC powered podcast. And as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Larry Aldrich.
Hello, I'm Larry Aldrich, President, CEO of Aqua Marketing Communications. Today we're here with Sean and Sean. So we're looking forward to having a good conversation with them. And let's first, before we jump into the conversation, we usually start off with a trend or a special topic that might be top of mind for you. Usually it could be anything you want that you wanted to just maybe start off a conversation with. So let's look at destination trends. Could be sports, can be anything. So is there anything you want to just jump into?
Yeah, I mean, as far as sports trends, there's a myriad of them. It's crazy how far sports tourism has gone. It used to be, I laugh, I've been doing this 20 years, it used to be, what fields do you have? What amenities can you help me with to put a sport in your destination? Now it's grown as large as what is the support your Convention Visitors Bureau offers? What type of financial support? What type of hotels do you have? What branding of hotels? So there's a lot more to it, a lot more kind of pieces of the puzzle, if you will. So we've seen that lately, and that's something that we got to kind of become experts at in a little bit of everything now, not just sponsoring an event and showing them a field. So it's really grown, and we see that people don't have it as side hustles anymore. These are major organizations and conglomerations that are doing this, and they're putting directors in place, PR managers, social media managers, and even marketing managers just for that one specific event, whether it's a state, national, or regional event.
So that will give you some insight into what we're going to be talking about, but I would love for you both also to introduce yourselves.
Sure, absolutely. Sean?
Yeah, sure. I'm Sean Doherty. I've been the director of the tourism director for the Punta Gorda Englewood Beach Visitor and Convention Bureau for the last 5 years. Prior to that, I served in Sean's current role as the Sports Business Development Director for
Big
those
shoes
15
to
years. Yeah. You're doing a great job. But prior to that, I worked in New Orleans for the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, and that was ideal because there I was able to work on a variety of events, both big and small. So we hosted Super Bowl, Final Fours, and things of that nature, but also hosted a lot of your more youth amateur type sports, USA Volleyball championships, and really just about anything you can host in the city of New Orleans. So really got my feet wet there before moving back to Florida. Really wanted to come back to Florida, and found a great place down in Southwest Florida to really start from the ground up, because I got there right after Hurricane Charlie had come through and kind of devastated the area. So over these past 20 years, I've really been able to see the growth of the destination from a lodging standpoint, a sport venue standpoint, and everything. So it's really gotten us to a point where we can really, really go after some of these events that we couldn't before.
Amazing.
And I started my career right out of college with Walt Disney World. It gave me an opportunity really to see the volume of events. They really train you on the logistics, the safety, the ingress, the egress, the customer service, feeding mass amounts of people, whether that's private dinners for coaches or VIPs. From there, I moved back to my hometown and worked up to a county north of where I'm at now. I oversaw the convention center and event center. And then from there were some dark days in the convention center where there were no events on weekends. So I went after the USA Wrestling, USA Dance and Cheer, a couple jiu-jitsu, and some fencing. And I think my boss saw that I was able to kind of leverage some sports and some opportunities. So he asked me if I'd move in and kind of be a sports commissioner at that point. With that, I also oversaw Premier Sports Campus, which is a 23-field campus with a stadium. So the job went hand in hand. After being up there for 12 years, I was real excited that Sean got promoted because it's an opportunity for me. And he and I to work together. We've been working together on the road probably for the past 12, 15 years. But the last 5 years in Punta Gorda, Englewood Beach, I've absolutely loved it and really enjoy what I do down there.
Great. I'm a sports guy, and Mady balances me out, so we started talking sports. We don't need to introduce ourselves. Let's just jump right in talking about sports.
I love it.
And I like all of that: jiu-jitsu, tennis, golf.
Yes.
I could sit and watch ants race if somebody can promote it.
Same here. Same here. And it's crazy because that's how it's kind of the trend has become. The baseball numbers have gone down with youth playing baseball because they're doing videos. Esports is huge in our world now, attracting people to destinations. So, any sport like that has become popular. You've seen that on ESPN and CBS Sports, what's on there.
Yeah, the VA has a program out, e-gaming for veterans. So it's really popular. It's fun and it's easy to get involved in also. And I believe you have something similar with e-gaming?
We try to do esports. It's kind of a good and bad thing. It's grown so large that our event center, conference and event center, is too small at this point. We looked at some regional opportunities, but they're looking at, believe it or not, 100,000 square foot, which is your Tampa Convention Center, your larger cities. So kind of outgrown us. So again, that's part of that shifting and what we need to do and be viable and kind of quick on our feet to figure out what the best asset is for our destination.
So you touched on this a little bit earlier, but we have seen a major shift towards destinations investing in sports tourism recently with a build it and they will come mentality. What do you think is driving this surge in sports facility development across destinations, but especially Florida?
I'd hand that to Sean first because he coming from New Orleans has seen that it's already built and big, and now you can even experience it in Florida.
Absolutely. So we're seeing that all throughout the state. I mean, I think last time we checked, there was like about 20 different destinations just in the state of Florida that either have recently built something or are in the process of building a multi-sport type complex that is primarily for the purposes of bringing in, those out-of-area tournaments. Prior to that, and what we're still having to deal with is working hand in hand a lot with our local parks and rec departments because a lot of the facilities we use are county facilities. So with that, you got to kind of work around the local leagues and other challenges that come with that. If they're having staffing issues and things of that nature, you can run into issues in terms of being able to bring in as much as you would have been able to bring in. But now with these these big facilities coming in, that a lot of them will partner with a local management, or not a local management, but a management company that will actually run the facility year round, separate from the Parks and Rec facility. And then you're all on the same page. You're all trying to bring in sporting events from outside the area that are going to generate that economic impact. So right now we're kind of caught right there where we're trying to get to that next stage. We did have a opportunity that came up not too long ago where there was a defunct golf course that we were trying to get the county to buy, and that deal kind of fell through, at least for right now it has. So we're trying to figure out an opportunity down the road here because we are definitely seeing that as a trend, and we don't want to fall behind that trend.
Yeah, and along with that Florida trend comes conglomerations wanting a new audience. So we're seeing the Publix of the world stamp their name on youth amateur. We all know they're going to professional. Look at Allegiant Stadium out where the Raiders are in Vegas. But we're starting to see other companies put their name on it because they can capture new audience, whether that's new eyeballs on their brand, whether that's new email blasts with their name or sponsorship on it. So we're starting to see that. So counties are realizing that there could be an offset financially of having a sponsor come in. It's a public-private relationship where maybe a private entity wants the land and maybe government could offer it at cheaper value, but that partnership only drives business to our destination, heads and beds, and eyeballs on the destination. So it is a big trend.
Yeah, and part of that partnership that can come out of it too is you can even partner with one of these event organizers. So say Perfect Game Baseball is looking to expand and all, and you're getting ready to build a facility. They could come to the table and say, hey, if you maybe put some offices in there for us, or this or that, a few other little amenities. We'll have a mini headquarters there, and we'll guarantee you X number of tournaments a year that will go into that facility. So there's that partnership as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, with the current sports tourism and the landscape of the sports tourism, what differentiates destinations that are truly trying to win at that, as opposed to the ones that are just building new facilities?
I think it starts with getting full buy-in at every level. So, like I was talking about before, we work a lot with our Parks and Rec department, which is a department of the county government and everything. So we really need to have everybody at, from the county commissioners to county administration to the Parks and Rec department, our department, everybody bought in on doing this from a resources standpoint, whether it's financial resources, staffing, equipment, whatever it might need to make those things happen. I think it really starts with there. If you just build it, they'll want to come, but can they come if you're not all on board?
Yeah. And I think another aspect of that is the people. When we go out on the road to sell, they may not have seen Punta Gorda Englewood Beach. They're trusting me. So it takes a while to get that trust with your client. A lot of times it's real easy for me to refer to, you remember Sean Doherty? He was selling the destination. So connecting that helps too, the buy-in. And then once they're down, when they come to our host hotels and they look at attractions, they're greeted with a smile and customer service saying, this is a really nice community. I want to come down here. This could be successful for me to put an event here. So it is about the people too. Start with the buy-in, and then if the people are also all throughout buying in and really looking to do it.
So let's talk about Punta Gorda Englewood Beach's bread and butter. I know we have the Charlotte Sports Park where the Rays do their spring training, and it's also award-winning. USA Today named it one of its best spring training facilities.
Absolutely.
But PGB also has really unique sports that you focus on. So pickleball, dog agility, cheer and dance, golf, cornhole. We have a big cornhole competition.
Yeah, cornhole's a $169 million industry. And we're lucky to have a piece of it. We do, and it drives business in shoulder months, which is kind of off-peak season where we're looking to fill the hotels, and we do that in June. Was July, kind of tapers back June, July, able to fill our event center and play there, as well as it's live stream at one of our, it's a Sheraton 4 Points. In the back, they have a nice little Harborside Gardens, but it's live streamed on their Facebook page and then picked up throughout for American Cornhole Organization. We have a pro invitational where people from international come over. So big exposure on our destination. And that's big. You mentioned pickleball. We do 16, 18 events a year there. We did the Association of Pickleball Professionals, which was one of the larger ones. They kind of outgrew our facility, unfortunately, and that happens a lot. But we've got a pipeline of other events coming in. That was the championship was showcased on ESPN U and then also CBS Sports. So again, great exposure for the destination. Now we've filled it with PPA, Pickleball Professional Association, a lot of acronyms, a lot of P's. And we created a live stream platform for the new Challenger Series. We were the first one to host their Challenger Series. We got 550 athletes. They had 200 on a waiting list. So we'll get 700, 800 athletes. Kind of going back to them and saying, again, an event isn't enough for us, filling the hotel rooms. How do we showcase the destination? They did live streaming. We're able to put a little commercial, which I know you guys have helped us with and create. So just some great opportunities with unique sports. The American Kennel Club, they came down. I had an opportunity to kind of show them around. And not many destinations have what we have. We have an indoor 5,000 square foot dog agility space, outdoor dock diving, and then a race run, they call it. It's a long run for dogs. So we're able to host 3 different events at one time simultaneously. The neat thing about the dog racing is the people that are good at it are all over the country. So they'll fly in from New York, Chicago, California just to participate. So that's really helped us out. So you just got to get a little creative in what's in our destination.
Yeah, and jumping back to pickleball real quick, Sean mentioned that APP outgrew our facility, but I would also make the argument too that they helped to grow our facility.
They did.
So we started off with 16 courts. And
the Pickleplex.
The Pickleplex of Punta Gorda started with 16 courts, and it got to where APP came in early on and they said, you know what, we've got a waiting list of like 300 people. We're going to have to go somewhere else if you can't add some more courts. So, and that's a private-public relationship that we have kind of with the Pickleplex. They're a nonprofit organization that handles all that. They were able to round up the money and everything and add the additional 8 courts to it. So APP came back up for a few years, and they outgrew that too.
Yeah.
But it did give us at least that minimum number of courts now that most tournaments are looking for, which is 24. So hopefully down the road, I think it is in their plans down in the future to add even more courts. So
yes.
So that'll help us to kind of keep up, but without having them help us grow the facility, even though they ended up ultimately outgrowing it, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are right now. Either.
Yeah, totally. And I'll tell you one thing about the APP partnership. I use it as a resume. I'm able to go out and say, we hosted the APP for 5 years. So then they open their eyes. Oh, wow, what is this place? Because they're so well known. They were one of the first ones to do the professional series, which is great.
It's pickleball is very hot right now. And I have to say, the dog agility, that's my kind of sports. I want to go to that.
Yeah, I get jealous watching them jump in the water when it's 89 degrees out.
When we first came in, we were talking about golf. And you mentioned a lot of the great courses that you have there. And I was thinking about that when we were talking, me getting back into a golf, a lot of guys out there in golf, but something that like a lot of the beautiful gems of Florida that a lot of people really just not the first thing you think of because everyone's thinking of the big cities.
Sure.
And when I came down, I was flying down on a plane when I was traveling and coming into Tampa, and I was talking to a bunch of guys that knew each other, and there was like 80 of them. And every year they fly to Tampa during the Super Bowl, and that's their guys' weekend to go play golf at all the courses around Tampa and watch the Super Bowl. I recently joined an organization over the summer where it's a bunch of guys travel all over, they live all over, and then they meet at certain places to play golf at these certain locations.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, talking to them, it was Tampa, it was Pittsburgh, it was Phoenix, but there's all these gems like Punta Gorda, Englewood Beach, where that would be a great target to draw these groups of men and women that want that getaway golfing, or they can go to a couple different courses.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. And we're blessed to have Sunseeker Resort. It's a
785.
I'll never get that right. 785 room resort that was just bought by Hilton. It's a Hilton Curio Collection. They own their own golf course. And we're blessed to have them because that's exactly what they're attracting with our leisure department at the Visitors Bureau is golf outings for either guys, girls, couples. And it's really neat because you have Sunseeker as a home base. They can go on the all-around course. They can go up to Riverwood up the road, which is a nationally well-known course in Punta Gorda, Englewood Beach, or travel anywhere within the destination, come back to home base at Sunseeker, and they're paying the tourism tax, which we love. But you're absolutely right. Believe it or not, when you get a lot of high-level golf courses, it's sometimes hard to bring in events because you displace memberships. So you got to look at certain times a year. We were fortunate to put the American Junior Golf Association Championship at Alaron, which is obviously owned by Sunseeker. It was a great partnership, great time of year, and that has grown. We even had the benefit of kind of passing along to them. We'd love to be a part of it, but we want live streaming commercial to show the destination versus just a golf course. They've never done that before, so they got with their communications and marketing team and contacted us and said, here's what we're thinking, what are you thinking? Long story short, we said, just like the pros, follow the last championship group, maybe get some great shots and putts over the weekend, make a B-roll collaboration and house it on your website. So we're very happy and proud that happened, and they're coming back their second year in May. But like you said, just kind of having that again as that resume as a golf destination, that even helps people come in and learn more about golf. And Sean's been doing that, as far as golf tourism, he was in the leisure end doing that even prior to me getting there. So I'm sure you could speak to
one
that.
point I would make to that too, and it doesn't just go for golf, but it's really the sports market in general, is a lot of times it can serve as that visitor's first touch point with your destination.
Yeah.
There's a tournament going on that their kid's going to play in.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have a choice on where they're going. They got to go where
Right.
the tournament's being played. So they come into town, they experience the destination, because usually there's some downtime between games or whatever, or they decide to stay an extra day or two to where they can really fully experience the destination and everything, and then they become a repeat visitor when they come back on a leisure vacation, and then hopefully they become a regular repeat visitor over and over and over. But a lot of times people were first exposed to our destination because they came in town for a sporting event, or maybe it was a meeting or a conference, something that they were required to come to, and maybe never would have picked us off a map, but yeah, so we always look at the benefits of sports that way too.
There's a story. I met a young lady who was the mom out at American Junior Golf, and their daughter was 14, and they were from China. And she had said, my husband always goes, but he made me go, and I was kicking and screaming. I don't like this. I don't want to be part of it. It stresses me out. But she said, but I found Sunseeker, and I will be back because I'm in charge of the family vacation. So it's kind of neat to hear that what we do is working, to really experience that. So that was kind of fun to see.
I know you two are all too familiar with leisure travel. Is there a special, fun, buzzy word for sports tourism and staying travel?
We can make one up.
Yeah,
I don't know. But we'll work on that.
I will say this, though, so I just like Sean, our kids are involved heavily in sports. I did travel softball with my daughter forever. She got a college scholarship. I coached it, football, baseball. So when we were in destinations, we would look up youth sports. If my daughter found USA softball was playing in a vacation spot, she'd want to go down to the local park and watch it. So it's kind of neat that happens a little bit. When you see the park, I even get ideas of other stuff. Boy, that's a great idea to have the restrooms up front or in each corner. So then developing parks, I can think of it. So having an experience and being there and doing it, I was able to talk to our Tourist Development Council and explain to them, I'm firsthand spent money to go on a family vacation in Mississippi, New Orleans, and even Atlanta for 10 days because my daughter played softball, my son played lacrosse. So I experienced spending 3 meals a day and the airfare and getting in the airports and all that money to make a family vacation revolve around youth sports. So it's kind of cool that we experience it and we do it for a living.
Well, congratulations to your kids.
Oh,
that's
thank you.
Great.
It's
Sean,
fun.
I know your daughters play soccer, right?
Yeah. My youngest is a senior in high school right now, so I've gone through some of the same stuff, experiencing it firsthand myself. We were up in Myrtle Beach not long ago for one of her tournaments and all, and even though I was very much aware of Myrtle Beach, I hadn't been there in a long time, and it's changed quite dramatically from last time I was there. To where now, when we went, I said to my wife on the way back, I go, we need to build this into a future vacation because I liked it a lot more than I had remembered the time before I went. It just wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, I remember it went from AAU was really popular in sports, and now it's becoming, like you were saying, just tournaments. They're organizations that are putting tournaments together, and they're traveling, like softball for men, or mostly young girls.
Sure.
And then because the young boys still like to play baseball. Yeah. And I know there's a friend of mine, his son played in a tournament in Disney. Mm-hmm. And are there softball, baseball facilities that can facilitate traveling sports?
Yeah, absolutely. We're blessed to have what's called Carmelita Park. It's 5 300-foot softball fields, 4 300, 1 280. That's great for adult softball. As you had said, as they get older, the kids get older. Even, we have people 70, 80 years old playing. However, we put temporary fencing up and utilize it for fast pitch softball. So that way you have one complex that can attract different people. We always remember that we love the 8, 10-year-old and 12-year-old because grandma and grandpa come, the siblings come. When they drive 17, 18 playing our Snowbird Baseball Classic, they're college kids, the parents will travel every now and then, but it might be one parent or maybe just the two and the siblings won't. So we know that if we can take a facility or complex and do myriad of sports at different levels, different male, female, whatever the case may be, even co-ed, we can utilize that facility in a little bit more productive way.
Yeah, I went to a friend of mine who was a chief of police out in a couple towns outside of Pittsburgh, and every year they would play in a law enforcement World Series in Vegas.
Oh yeah,
and they would have it was all police officers,
Yeah.
and sheriffs, all of those, and they would have their own teams, and they would come from all over the country.
Yeah,
I went a few times. That was a pretty fun time watching those guys play softball.
Yeah. When I was in before I had my job in New Orleans, I worked for the Gainesville Sports Commission in Gainesville, Florida, for a couple of years, and we did host the Florida Law Enforcement Games, and that was great. I mean, they had so many different sports, and they came from all over the state, because it was the state games. But I got the opportunity because they needed a fourth for one of the golf teams, so I got to play with the Miami-Dade police officers, and they were they were a hoot to play with and all. But they loved it. They loved doing that, and I mean, getting an event like that, multi-sport event like that every year would be awesome.
Yeah. And I think the coolest thing about it is, as Sean said, it's eyeballs in the destination. It's the wives are out shopping, going to dinner, come back and watch maybe the husbands play and say, we're coming back here with the kids.
Yeah.
Or, hey, this could be our second honeymoon. So tourism, especially sports, really drive people, like Sean had said, that don't really know about it, maybe don't want to go there. We've heard people on the East Coast of Florida say, I've never been to the West Coast. It's gorgeous over here. So that'll just change their mind and kind of open their eyes. So
sports brings people together. Sports
camaraderie, sure.
Sports tourism brings people to destinations that they may have never heard of or never seen, and they get there and they're like, wow.
And memories. I love going out to the parks on weekends. I'll meet with the client, and I'll stand and watch and see the mom high-five their daughter or the sibling, or lift them up, they hit a home run, and that's us creating memories for people, which is really cool too.
Yeah, and with that sports tourism, you bring all of these people to this destination, and then they're at a restaurant watching the game, or at a restaurant having a party, and they just created, like, the restaurant didn't think it was going to be a busy night, but there's a softball tournament or a soccer tournament in town, and the parents are there, and they just made it a big party for the whole week, and everyone's running out of food and drinks.
Yeah,
and you have to.
We actually hear about the uniforms. That there's a girls soccer team, or I saw the guys in cleats, or so that's how we hear about it. So it's great to see.
It's always a good fun time, and it creates those memories, like you were saying.
For sure.
If you could think about, or let's just say, predict the next big sports trend, what do you think it could be, other than pickleball or
who would have thought that how many years ago? I find the trends in sports tourism really follow the Olympic Games closely. Whatever's throwing Olympic Games, that's when the rights holders and the event organizers, I think, know they can make money at it because it's popular. So that's part of it. The other part is the obscure sports that are a little bit different, more mind sports. Sean and I were talking about this on the way up here, that it's not as big of a team, 13 people on a baseball team. It's pickleball, 2 people. Maybe it's a single player. It's golf, it's 1. It's cornhole, it's 2 people. So we're finding that when kids are now on social media more, in my opinion, they see different sports. We have a sport now that is out there. God, it escapes my name, but it's just like basketball, but you don't dribble. Handball. Whereas handball, when I was a kid, was you hit the ball with your hand across a wall. This is basketball, that you throw the ball to each other. There's no dribbling, and then you throw it in a goal like soccer. So kids are playing that. Maybe they're not as coordinated as you would in basketball. It's a lot harder to dribble a ball and move it around. So they play that sport. Another one, catch ball. It's volleyball, but instead of spiking it and setting the ball 3 times, you throw it to your players and then jump up and throw it. So maybe it just gets more people to open their eyes that I want to be part of that sport. I want to play it, but you know what? Dribbling a ball is a little harder for me, or so maybe that's what attracts them.
It makes you wonder what role pickleball actually had in creating these modifications of other sports, because that's really what pickleball is. When it first came out, people would say, "What's pickleball?" And I'd say, "Well, it's kind of like a cross between tennis and table tennis."
Table tennis.
So just imagine you're standing on a table tennis thing, but it's in between the two, that kind of thing. But I wonder how much pickleball kind of played into that, where it's like, why does volleyball have to be this way? Some people, they can't jump high and everything is spiked, so they don't want to play it.
Right.
Okay, well, let's change it up a little bit, make it a different game where you're doing it this way.
That's a great point.
I'll throw one out. When you brought up the Olympics, was actually made me think of it. And then I saw a tournament on ESPN one time. And it can be men, women's, youth, adult. I'm thinking 6-on-6 or 7-on-7 flag football.
Yeah, that's gotten popular and gained traction for one reason, in my opinion, is the NFL has bought into that. There's NFL flag football. They looked at how are we going to, they got a bad rap about concussions for years. How can we create that grassroots effort and continue that out there and that exposure? So if you see it on ESPN, they have the NFL ex-players play, the alumni play a game, and they're all 6'5", 6'7", catching a ball, running and bumping. And kids are like, hey, I could do that. I could run and catch a pass. Because we all did it as a kid in the front yard, if you think about it. Putting the pads on gets a little scarier for kids, and then technique, and you need to be in a certain place. There's rules to it. Flag football is a little bit looser. And I think that's something that the NFL saw as grassroots effort, spun other leagues off of it. So it is popular for us. We actually host Florida flag football. We had U.S. flag football, or U.S. youth flag football. But the things we run into, and we always talk about the differences, there is competition out there. There's other counties that create competition. So if we have fields that are split up a little bit, where you have 4 flag here, 2 there, we got a county south of us says I have 8 or 10 in one area. You don't have to go anywhere. We got the restrooms, we got the concessions. So to an event organizer, it makes more sense. It's more productive. It's less expensive to have people spread out. Maybe insurance is cheaper. It's one location. So we do contend against that, and that was one of the reasons we did end up losing it. And you got to backfill with the other kind of obscure sports that make the difference for sure.
It's only a matter of time before there are breakdancing competitions in Punta Gorda.
Absolutely. That is so true. And another thing that's kind of neat is I looked at artistic swimming. Now, they went to the Olympics and they won, I think, a silver or bronze, which they've never done, which is amazing. And Adam, who's their CEO, we've known for a while, moved around. He was at field hockey. And when I approached him, he said, it's a grassroots effort so much that I have to have a club in your town. There's a club north of us that support it. Whenever there's a club in town that are practicing every week, that means parents are behind it. People know about the sport. It's in the newspaper. And we didn't have a club, so we weren't able to host it. Someday we hope to get a club. I think that's what's important in our world is staying in touch with the right people, because we may have a club and may be able to host it, but not every sport that's kind of off the wall can you host because you don't have that club supporting it or that buy-in at that point.
And to kind of touch on the swimming component to it. So in the past, until a few years ago, we didn't have a 50-meter pool. So we weren't able to do much in terms of swimming events. But when we finally got one of the things that we've been able to do, which is kind of out of the box, is that we'll host some of the collegiate teams up north for their winter training. A lot of them come down to Florida, all over, to do their winter training, and they're in town for 10 days to 2 weeks. Yeah. And some of these teams are bigger than I thought. It's their swimming and diving teams and everything. So you got their whole entourage they bring their coaches and trainers and all those types, and for them to be down here. Usually it's late December, early January, and that kind of fits in well for us when we kind of have a little bit of a void in there where tourism's a little soft right around that time period, and to bring in those groups is great. And it's it's not a tournament, it's not a competition necessarily, although you can develop a competition and
friendlies.
You have some friendlies and all, but that's not the main point of it and all. So it's kind of thinking a little bit outside that box of just your traditional tournament type play.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing is the first thing the coach said is, I got to feed these kids 3 meals a day. What do you recommend? So, I always feel we connect the dots. So I'll connect the dots for group dining or great opportunity. Yeah. And to me, that's money to my ears to our partners.
Swimmers eat a lot, don't they?
Oh, man, do they ever. Yeah, 5,000 calories, it seems.
And another I guess, overlay to all of the sports that you just mentioned and everything, being a veteran organization that we are, and we do outreach to the veterans and we work with the VA, we contract with them, are the partnering with the VA, because they do this, to have a lot of those same sports tournaments, projects that you have going on sponsored by the VA for veterans, men and women veterans.
Can I just add really quick, though, which is that Punta Gorda Englewood Beach is a great destination for veterans to visit because you have the Military Heritage Museum. Yeah, and you're a Purple Heart community.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's funny is I was so excited to go on the road and talk that to Veterans Games, it's called. But they get 10 to 20,000 athletes. So that is one of those that are going to fit in the Orlando, Chicago, Miami. I still continue to have conversations about, can you do a regional, a state, a qualifying? Yes. They haven't got to that level yet, but that's just so cool to see how much buy-in for something like that to support the veterans and allow them to come together, camaraderie. I mean, to have that many people show up is amazing. But it is a big support throughout the country. They moved. There was I forget the name of the games in Orlando they had that was quite large, but we do support veterans. We're really big in it. When we bring in other events that could be adult softball, there are times we have conversations with our veterans department about, do you want to be on hand and talk about our community? So, but yeah, it's a great synergy for sure.
Yeah. And throw in a little bit, have your military recruiters there also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And I'll tell you, we do find that people, when they host events, they love their 3-day weekends. That's the biggest thing. We look at our calendar as what 3-day weekend. So Veterans Day is big. If they ever do anything Veterans Day, they do a salute to veterans. They give money back to veterans. So we absolutely love that time of year to host a different event that isn't veterans only playing in it, but it does revolve around and support them.
And that is a good example of what I was talking about before, about people coming to a destination the first time because of an event. So if we could get a good veterans event there, like Mady pointed out, we have one of the best military museums in the state. We've got one of only, I think, 5 or 6 cities in the country that have a replica of Vietnam Wall, and other things too. All the other kind of activities that veterans tend to like to do. Some of the best fishing, golf, and other things like that. So that could be definitely a catalyst. If we were able to get a veterans event and to have those people become regular leisure visitors.
Yeah, it's not really a sport, but we did was like a bike fest where it brought in, I think, 500 riders, and they were all veterans. They got an opportunity to go up to Twisted Fork, which is a great venue in our town.
Like motorcycles?
Yeah, motorcycle riding. And it was neat because we had the 500 motorcycle riders, but however, 2,000-3,000 came to watch the concert in the park and the ride up to the Twisted Fork. They did a little parade and celebration and music. Again, not quite a sporting event, but an event. So that's kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I worked with some veteran organizations that were veterans that would ride their bike from, last I spoke with them, they rode from Cleveland to Texas.
Wow, that's fun. That is neat to see.
And that was to raise money for furniture to put in veteran housing.
Is that right? Wow, that is that is cool to see.
That's a great cause.
Like that. Fun.
Sean, so I would
which one?
Sean Doherty. Sean's. Sean Doherty, I'd like to ask about how probably when you were working in sports tourism, maybe in New Orleans, only 18 counties had sports development person on staff. Tell us about the shift between then and now. Like what's this, and then what's the secret to standing out when everyone's playing in the same arena? No pun intended.
Right. Yeah. It has increased the competition, obviously, going from where there were only 18 counties in the state of Florida that really proactively went out their sporting events. There might have been where a sporting event wanted to come somewhere and they get hooked up somewhere with the CVB, but it wasn't a sports development person with the CVB. They might have just helped them out with the hotel rooms and things of that nature. But now that we've gotten up to where there's 37, it's difficult. It makes it more and more challenging to kind of stand out. So that's one of the tracks we've taken, is to go after some of those non-traditional sports and where we can stand out with our dog agility facility, our pickleplex, things of that nature. We've got the second largest fishing estuary in the state of Florida. So going after fishing tournaments, things of that nature. Golf, we talked about that a little bit. So it's doing that, but also we do have a spring training facility. So that's why we're still kind of in the mix for baseball a lot of times, is that we can kind of sell that facility, even though we don't have access to it year round, because the Rays do especially during that window of time right before, during, and after spring training. We do leverage that any way we can to kind of say, hey, this makes us stand out, because there's only a small number of communities in the whole state of Florida and state of Arizona that actually have facilities of that quality and everything that you can actually use, So.
Well, we haven't even been able to have baseball here for the past year because of the hurricanes.
Yeah,
so.
And it's easy for me to go out of our destination and go to baseball entities and say you could play like the big leagues at the Rays Sports Park, which is Charlotte Sports Park. We run and operate, as Sean said, but home in Tampa Bay Rays spring training. once they hear that, they say, can you get me in there? Like it's a big secret. Well, we'll look at dates, but yeah, I'm your guy to at least talk to them. But so it's kind of fun that we're able to have that cachet when we go out. And there's other destinations in Florida who've said that I'm so jealous you have that asset. So that is nice, as Sean said, because it drives tourism too. Come watch the game, not just play the sport, but obviously come watch the game, which is nice. We've noticed too with the trend of adding a person, they know that they need to add that person for a while, but once that person gets situated in a year, you're going to need more assets for that person. So the county grows with that person in that developmental opportunity or role, if you will. So a lot of counties have put reserves away. They've added extra penny tax to build facilities. We talked earlier, the bill that they will come. That does work in sports tourism because we're finding organizations want everything under one roof. We have amazing brand new basketball courts. We have 5 of them. One has a double court. However, you can go to Orlando, Lakeland, Sarasota, and get 8 to 10 under one building. And it's easier for them to manage. It's easier for them to track. Yeah. So there's just a lot of those moving parts.
And even though there's been more competition for us, the state of Florida has really upped its game to where just, I guess it was last year, year before, we jumped up to number 1 in terms of the amount of sports tourism business being driven to the state.
Wow.
I think overall, there's $128 billion that is spent on sports tourism, and that doesn't count like professional sports games and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just
all
amateur.
It's all that amateur sports travel stuff. So out of that $128 billion, Florida gets as in the number 1 position.
We always flip-flop from Texas, California. We've never been number 1, so we became number 1 in 24. Yeah, that was really neat. And that's part of, now there's 37 people doing it, so obviously it's going to produce more events. And I talked to some colleagues that are from pure Michigan or Virginia, and we're so blessed to have sports year round. They don't. Baseball shuts down, and then they got to go into the hockey and other stuff. Whereas we're blessed to have year round conversation about bringing your event in, no matter what sport it is.
And I would also point out that we have a really close knit relationship with all the other Florida sports commissions. We work very well together in the sandbox. So it's not, we don't view each other we do view each other as competition, but not cutthroat type competition. It's, if we can't host something, we don't just send the guy on his way. It's like, hey, I can't do that event because such and such, but who you should talk to is, Sarasota County has a great facility for that. And
keep it in Florida.
We want to keep it in Florida, Southwest Florida even better. And, ultimately that might come around later that we can get the event, or in another way that we've had that happen for us where one of our neighbors couldn't host an event and they've referred them to us. So I think we're blessed from that standpoint too, that we do have that, because not all states are like that at all. We've
asked colleagues from Michigan, 2 of them, do you know so-and-so? Yeah, I don't talk to them at all. Whereas wow, we're best friends. And that's the neat thing is you can pick up the phone and say, you hosted this 10 years ago. What'd you think? What would you do differently? Because we put in what's called bids for RFPs, requests for proposals for events. If we know that a neighboring destination in Florida, our friends hosted it, we'll pick up the phone and call them. So it's a great opportunity to kind of network and get some synergy and understand the event.
So thinking of a case study, if you can find one case study that sticks out that you'd like to talk about, what would that be?
An interesting, I don't know if I can call it started as a case study and now it's moved on, is we're seeing a lot of large, well-known youth organizations in the country that dominate the sport, say baseball, softball. They're starting to collaborate a little more and talk to each other. Baseball's saying, hey, we've got all the guys and the boys, but we want the girls too. How could your softball entity work with us? So we're seeing them have conversations at different levels. We, as I said earlier, the Publix of the world and the different companies, maybe a large car manufacturer, they want to get in front of new eyeballs they never have before. So how do you do that? It's through youth sports. You not only have the kids growing up needing cars, insurance, you have the parents, you have the grandparents. So you have that audience that you've never seen before. So I've really seen that develop and mesh. We have four probably big entities right now in the sports world that are working together and going in destinations they've never been able to get in before. So to me, that's kind of a neat trend. It's kind of, is it getting out of control and conglomerations buying each other up? It's a lot of the grassroots. I think we started, Sean said, it was a side hustle on the job. The husband or wife had fun. They loved their kid played softball. I have a softball tournament 3 times a year. Then I made it a national one and then a regional. Next thing you know, they get big enough, they get bought out by the big dogs. So we're seeing a lot of more control at the top and the bigger dogs. I think the key is continually having those conversations, collaborating with them, that we may be too small of a destination at this point, but things could always change. So that's one thing that's fascinating to me is seeing people that it's their professional job making 6 figures, and these corporations are working together to get a different audience. I don't know if anything you can share to that.
No, that's great. That's exactly.
It is really neat to see, I think.
How about a campaign that you've worked on in sports tourism that you're very proud of?
I think a campaign. There's 2 campaigns. One Sean brought up was I collaborated and I think you did even when it started. Prior to me getting there was our building those pools. We collaborated with our parks department on how do we fill these pools in a downtime. So bringing in these NCAA teams, rotating. We could do 5 to 7, and the NCAA. There was collaboration where we created a brochure and let parks use it. Our parks department. The director's an ex-swimmer and the family is, so they had a lot of contacts, sent our brochures off to those people. We've got a mailing list, I think, at one point of all the schools and swim teams and dive teams. We worked together to send that out. So it was kind of a collaboration, grassroots of getting the word out on our marketing. And then I think another thing was the American Junior Golf Association is there are 120 tournaments across the country. So is it, you're going to add our name to your resume and some kids are coming in? Well, to me, it wasn't saturated, but it was the fact, what's going to be different in Punta Gorda, Englewood Beach? And that was live streaming. And when they said, well, we've never done that, I said, you work with 120, 130 destinations, and you don't talk to them about what their needs are or what your needs could be to fulfill it. So now they've created that in their bid. They'll send it out and say, we will live stream destination commercial. So I think that I call it a kind of a campaign, so to speak. But I think that's the neatest thing. One thing about youth sports and collegiate, it's all B2B. It's word of mouth. It's getting to know the right person who wants to come to your destination. Whereas tourism marketing is a little different, obviously, with your digital ad displays and you're in brochures and airlines. And so the B2B, it wasn't really a huge overarching campaign, but I think those 2 little things were kind of neat and niche.
Yeah, one I would touch on, and it's really more of an event than a campaign, is Englewood Beach Water Fest and how that started and came to be from the get-go. And this dates back to one of my predecessors. When she first started as our director, she kind of put together what she called these tourism teams, and to try to get some feedback from them, because she came from out of state. She wasn't familiar with the destination that well, and also one of those tourism teams was a sports development tourism team. And in their brainstorming and everything, they came up with, hey, we would really love to put on a offshore powerboat race. And I had already talked to some of the offshore powerboat organizers and stuff, and they were wanting, money that we couldn't afford out of our budget to just for a host fee, $50,000, $80,000, whatever. But they took it upon themselves, this tourism team did, to kind of form a group together, all volunteers, and really kind of created the event, got it going. There were some, rough spots early on and everything, but it's really smoothed out over time. And it's like I said, all run by volunteers. The Rotary Club's heavily involved. The Englewood Chamber of Commerce is involved. So they really have a really solid foundation now, and I think they're in their 11th year. 11th year. Yeah. And it was very successful this year. Last year it had to be canceled because of the hurricanes, but Mady was there at the block party. It was we fun. Had a block party Friday night, and they said it was the most well-attended block party they've ever had for the event. So you talked about running out of food earlier. Yeah. They were running out of beer there. That's a good problem to have. They had to go run and get more. And then all those businesses down Dearborn Street where the block party was, they were all benefiting from it. And really the party was just simply having all the guys bring their boats down there on their trailers, have static displays of them all down Dearborn Street. They shut the road down, and then there's a little band shell in a little park right there that they had a really nice band playing that was pretty popular, and some vendors and all, and that brought they're estimating somewhere around 6,000 or 7,000 people out there just for that one night. And then of course the event took place that Saturday, Sunday, and I was out there Saturday with Sean, and there were people lined along the beach. So I'm not sure that we don't have the numbers back from it yet, but we should be getting that in the next couple of weeks. But typically that event generates about $5 million of economic impact for just that one weekend. So we're really proud about how that started years ago and just kind of picked up speed and everything. So it was a homegrown type thing. Didn't have to bid on it or anything. It was created locally and continues to stay locally.
And grown to the point where we have our Visitors Bureau sticker on these boats going across the country. They're going by pretty quick. You see them when they're parked and static. That's
what the block parties are.
Yeah, exactly. and I think the neat thing about that is you have people who are enthusiastic racers that either did race or love speed, agility. Then you got people just coming out to have fun at a block party. So it brings out a myriad of people. And in tourism, that's what we look for. We got to remember we are public servants, so we're all about the residents too. So it creates opportunity for the residents, just like any sporting event, to come out and enjoy it.
Punta Gorda, Englewood Beach is a beautiful destination. Being a northeasterner from the city, and then I migrate to Florida, and I'm coming down the highway. And to me, the first thing that caught my attention was coming across that bridge.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And you see the mangroves and the water and the little islands everywhere, and then in the distance, the high rise, the hotels, and I start swerving and had I'm too busy looking, and you're getting out of the city a little bit and coming into that type of environment.
You need a job. You're pretty good at this.
Definitely do more of that.
And then, what? That's what's neat about sports. I mean, I'm blessed to be in a place where sports is outside, the majority of them. And our tagline is best side outside. Because there's so much to do in our destination outside that helped us get through pandemic, and people who just want to experience, as Sean said, the estuary, second largest in Florida, the boating, the fishing, and just being outdoors. That speaks volumes to anyone who likes sports. So that's beneficial.
And that's what caught my eye too. Exactly what you said. When I came in town for my interview, when I interviewed for the position, I didn't know the destination very well. I grew up on the east coast of Florida near Cocoa Beach. Really hadn't been to the Southwest Florida much other than to visit my grandparents when they lived in Naples. So I'm coming over that same bridge and everything. I'm going, I could see myself here and all. So, and the beauty of it is you're not in a city. I mean, you have a little, but we do have a little walkable downtown area, Punta Gorda, which is very walkable and safe and all that. But you're not far from cities. So if you want to go do something in Tampa, run up the road an hour and a half down in Naples.
Tampa Bay Bucks game.
Go to Orlando even. I don't know how many times I've taken my kids over to Disney and everything. It's a quick drive. So. But we kind of consider ourselves that we can be the hub of that spoke where you could stay where in Punta Gorda, Englewood Beach, and be very short distances to a number of other things to do.
And not into Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Absolutely.
Only like 3 hours there. So not bad.
And it opens up a whole other market. Matter of fact, during the pandemic, when Miami kind of was shut down, that's when we saw more baseball teams traveling. And the neat thing about it is when I open the roster, because part of our sponsorship is you got to tell us where they travel from, prove the hotel, pick up and stay, and the new eyeballs on the destination, is we see a lot of Miami teams in West Palm and Lauderdale. They're still coming because they were forced to come the first time, and now they're like, what a great tournament, what a great destination. The family loved it. So it really helped us out. It's interesting how that works.
And another thing that really caught my attention, and it's not too far from you, in the sport, if you want to go fishing in Alligator Alley. I know it sounds scary, but there's a lot of fishermen on their
airboat
boats
rides down there.
And down there just fishing right there in the little, I don't know what that's called. It's like
little estuaries.
The little estuaries,
and it's funny, when we host conference, we host the U.S. Sports Congress, which is a intimate conference between rights holders and destinations. We did it in 2024. We're doing it again in 2026 at Sunseeker Resort by Hilton. And as soon as we were planning it, they said, people want to see alligators. What are you going to do? So on their Tuesday excursion day, where they're out and about in the destination, that's why we host these, is you're not stuck in the hotel the entire time you're out in the destination, is that we did airboat rides, and they saw 30 to 40 alligators, and we're loving life.
I was
thought it was
counting
the
them
coolest
also.
thing ever.
How many I could see from the highway.
Just driving, yeah. And years ago, they didn't have that fence, so it was a little crazy driving across there, but yeah.
When I was in town for Waterfest, I ate some alligator
awesome.
At Babcock Ranch.
Yeah.
So
Great spot.
there are alligators aplenty here.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about it.
Before we go, I just got to really bring it up. We always talk about food, and the last time we had one of our influencers who came to visit Punta Gorda, Englewood Beach, she talked about this redfish.
You're still thinking about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, so redfish is a unique fish, and obviously there's a season for it, but it's plentiful in our destination. Matter of fact, I think when Sean was part of sports, you did a redfish tournament, I believe, right in the harbor
Redfish
area.
Cup,
Redfish Cup. So it's real popular. I don't know about how much redfish you have eaten, but oh man, it's a nice flaky fish. Really enjoy it.
Yeah, well, when I was especially in New Orleans, redfish was like on every menu. In our destination, it's not as plentiful
Prevalent,
on menus, but you find it from time to time, and it's a good fish to eat for sure.
Yeah. Yep, no doubt about it. But amongst other things, out in the Gulf, you have your grouper, mahi, and things of that nature. They're just, great seafood. What I love, too, about our destination, it's kind of my elevator speech, is downtown Punta Gorda does not have all the franchises. We love franchises, you know what you're getting, but you're able to really stroll and find places that are maybe a little smaller, off the beaten path, a little quaint, but they all have a story. The chef was, matter of fact, one of the chefs at our restaurants beat Bobby Flay. I mean, that's really neat. At Sunseeker, a gentleman's not there anymore, but he was on Gordon Ramsay's show. So it's really neat, a small little niche community like that. I don't know if you can think of any more.
But, speaking of Sunseeker, the pastry chef there, she's won like 7 gold medals in the pastry Olympics or whatever it's called. It's called, but she's won like 7 gold medals in that. We have our share of people that, and a lot of the food is sourced locally too, which people I think are being a little more cognizant of that too these days about where your food's coming from. We've got some farms just east of downtown Punta Gorda that source some of those restaurants and all, and then of course the crabs and other fish right out of the harbor there. You can't beat that. You can't get any fresher than that. And some restaurants that will even cook your catch.
That's what I was going to say. That is the coolest thing ever. Is you can go out fishing for the day, and they'll come in and they'll prepare it the way you want and give you 2 sides at a price. So what an experience, from start to finish. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Now I'm hungry.
I know, I hear you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
This is such a great conversation.
Definitely thank you, and I will be down there to go golfing.
Fantastic, and some good seafood.
And some seafood.
He's going to get some redfish finally.
I want to do a little bit of everything. I want to go golfing. I want to go fishing, chartered, or I'll stand on a bridge somewhere and pass the line.
Either way is fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I actually even want to do a helicopter ride because our influencer was talking about that.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Great idea.
We got that.
How about skydiving? You going to go over that?
I don't know about
We'll start with the helicopter.
Well, and we also have a good cool biplane ride, too.
That's fun.
So, I'm looking forward to getting there.
Excellent. We'll love to have you.
Fran and I will be there, and Mady and Chip if they want. Well, Chip lives close by.
Yeah.
He does.
And you know what?
Meet us over there.
A quick plug for your team. Your team's been amazing for what you do for us and the support. Just me speaking, I know Sean feels the same way, but and he's worked with you as long as I have. But thanks for all you guys do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing.
And we got Maureen and everyone else. And
the whole staff down there.
Yes, congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We're definitely working harder to get you more.
Yep.
We like to hear that.
Thank you for that.
If you're interested in learning more about Sean Doherty or Sean Walter or Punta Gorda Englewood Beach as a sports tourism destination, we have it all listed on aquatalks.com. You can also find all of our socials there as well as their bios. If you're interested in learning more, check out that website and see you next time.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Aqua Talks, where marketing innovation takes center stage with bold ideas and actionable insights. Ready to take your strategies to the next level? Visit aquatalks.com to book your free consultation and explore resources that empower you to thrive in today's fast-paced marketing world. Until next time, stay bold, stay inspired, stay imaginative.